Hello and welcome to another video. So today I'm going to be tackling a topic that I have done before on my channel, which is upcycling garments. Now today I'm mostly focusing on thrifted items, and I want to actually do a little bit better about giving a tutorial of doing some upcycling, because I have been upcycling garments for a while. I've mentioned before on my channel that I did grow up doing a lot of crafts and sewing. My mom and my grandmas all sewed, and one of them knits, and I have a lot of background in crafts and creativity, things like that. But it didn't really, I didn't take it into like my own personal light until I was in college, and I realized, hey, I can't really afford to buy clothing anymore because I was college poor. And so a lot of how I got like new clothes was thrift shopping. But if you've done very much thrift shopping, a lot of times you can find something that's really cute, but like it's one size off, or it's like a little too long, or there's just like a little thing you don't like about it, or it's an old garment and it needs like a little bit of help giving it new life. And that's really how I got started on a lot of my own personal sewing. And so I want to use what I have learned and kind of give you some how-tos of what I think are my most common upcycles that I come across. Now, I've got a lot we're covering today. I went through my entire upcycle pile, and all of this I am planning to get through today, which I'm pretty excited about. I'm gonna be honest, there's a lot of this I kind of forgot that I had, because I don't like do them one at a time. I usually will like go to the store, find some things, and then I'll wash everything when I get home. And if it's something that needs upcycled, I just in the upcycle pile. So I've got a lot. So let's get started. I was gonna try and be really organized about this and go about them as like easiest to most difficult, but I have yellow thread in my machine right now, so I'm gonna start with the yellow things. Something else is that when I was in college, I had a really small apartment because I didn't have money for a bigger one. And so I didn't have any sort of sewing machine or serger or anything. I had needle and thread. So a lot of the upcycles that I did back then were really simple, like alterations, things like that. So I'm gonna try and include like a good number of upcycles that you can do without a machine, because I know that that's not accessible for a lot of people, but I still want to give you an idea of things you could still do to use thrifted garments and to kind of give them a second chance at life. First up is this short sleeve button down shirt, really cute, has butterflies all over it, but it's too big. So all you do is you find another shirt just like it. I happen to really like short sleeve button down, so I have a lot. You find one that you love how it fits. You lay it on top, you cut it around it, leaving like an extra ½ inch, and then you pin it all back together, and then you sew it all back together, sleeves on and everything, and then boom, you've got a shirt. And here's the finished product. It fits so perfect that just as I'm editing this, I've already worn it twice. I love this shirt. All right, the next one is also yellow, so I can continue to use my yellow thread. It is this dress, and I'm not gonna try it on. Honestly, it's not bad. I actually got it just to wear. Like, I didn't have plans to upcycle it initially, but it's just not great. I've worn it a couple times how it is. I really always struggled with, it's got this like necktie, and I could never figure out how to like tie it to make it look really cute. And it was like a little bit short for me. Like, it just, I was always really nervous wearing it because it's really flowy and it's really short. So I was always like a little concerned that a big gust of wind and I'm just out there. So this is next. This one's also so easy. I'm just chopping this dress in half about an inch above that final gather at the very top. And I'm going to be turning this into a skirt. I need this white fabric to kind of supplement for the waistband, and I'm stitching it together. So if you do have an iron, I highly recommend ironing this section. Basically, you just want to flatten down the seam that you just made, And then you want to create your seam allowance on the very edge. I'm doing like a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then you're gonna iron that all flat all the way around. And then you're gonna fold the whole waistband down to look basically exactly how you want it to look finished, and iron that flat. I know that this is kind of tedious, but it's gonna make the final steps of this and the sewing so much easier. I highly recommend. And then I just measured the elastic really quickly, exactly how I wanted the skirt to fit. Where you just fold it down and ironed, flip that back up so you can see the inside here, excuse me. You're gonna take an end of your elastic, and I don't know, this is how I do it. I don't know if this is the best way. I am gonna stitch it to my yellow fabric, and then I'm gonna fold down the white and go over it again, because I find when it's attached to both layers of fabric, it just sits way nicer. And if you're trying this along with me, sorry, I know I'm like out of frame, you will find that then when you go to fold down that white fabric, you'll know exactly where you want it to go and how far you want it to fold down because you just pressed it. And then it'll be amazing the rest of the time. You're welcome. Okay, now you should have something that looks like this. Now, the elastic's still hanging out here. What you're gonna do now, super easy, we're almost done, is, again, you've got that area already folded down to where you want it to be because you just pressed it. You're just gonna run your sewing machine across here as far as close to that folded edge as you can get, making sure your elastic is just like wedged in there, but don't sew over it or else it won't be stretchy. So you gotta make sure it's tucked in there just enough to where you're not gonna be sewing through it. And you'll have to make sure as you go along, because I hate feeding elastic through, that I just kind of keep pulling it once I get close to the end. And this is like not a massively gathered skirt, so it shouldn't be too hard. And then the last thing that we have to do when we get back to the start, because you still got this end of the elastic, is like as close as you can get to this first seam that you made, you're just gonna tuck that guy in there. Make sure I kind of just pinch him down with my finger and sew the rest of the way here till you get back to there. Raise my presser foot, and then you're gonna turn. Go over that end a couple of times. And it's all done. This is one of the fastest, easiest ways to get a skirt out of a dress, and to show you how much length that I just got. Look how much space is between these two. So I'm not going to be doing it today, but I am going to keep the top portion of this dress because I think it'd be really cute to just add, like, it's too cropped like this. It literally hits me like right here, so I can't wear it by itself. But I did think it'd be really cute if I had like a fabric that matched it really nicely to sew like a band around the bottom of that. I looked through my stash, I couldn't really find anything. I don't know, there's like a really specific color of yellow. I don't know if you can tell very well in camera, but it's like almost neon. So I'll probably just hang on to this for now and put it back in my upcycle pile and eventually circle back around to it. The other thing that is very similar to this, I have another dress that I'm going to chop in half. So this one is another one I was not planning on upcycling. Like, oh my gosh, this one's so pretty. I love it. And you probably can't tell this. I love little details. Oh, you can tell. Do you see the texture in that fabric? I am obsessed with that. I love it. And so I got this at a thrift store just because like I loved it and it fits like perfect. It's my size. And I get home, I wash it. I think I was like hanging it in my closet and I noticed, you probably don't see it because it was sneaky. Actually, I got this with tags on too at a thrift store, which I was like, this is amazing. An amazing find. Do you see it yet? Do you see it? Do you see the little broken zipper guy? So sad. So yeah, the zipper is broken, which doesn't make it unwearable. It does make it not great for wear because there is a little gap down there, and also I don't want to use the word jagged because it seems like really dramatic, but it's a little sharp when you have it on. So I decided I'm gonna chop this one in half too. All right, same drill. This is so easy. You just get out your scissors and you cut away. I'm just chopping it in half. That's literally all you do. It does have a metal zipper, so I'm not using my nice scissors to cut through that. Okay, so this top might be a little challenging to follow because the zipper in it makes it like a little bit difficult. So I'm basically adding a strip along the bottom just on the inside to hem it and kind of create like a lining almost, but just a very small amount because it really doesn't need lined. It's more for the hem factor of it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and attach this to the top, and remember you always want to do right sides together. I also used some pliers that I had to pick out a couple of the prongs of the zipper just to make sure that I didn't sew over them. Unfortunately, I should have pulled out a couple more because I still broke a needle. There's the pointy boy himself. Okay, situation rectified. Now, obviously I can't still have this like as a raw seam, but this part around the zipper is like really heavily reinforced, so I don't want to create too much bulk there. So I'm actually going to trim it down so that I have like the smallest seam allowance possible. And then I've got some extra of the pink fabric here. I obviously have too much. So what I will do is basically you're going to overlap them and cut off so that only a ½ inch is overlapping, but you have to make sure there's a ½ inch where both of them are contained. So you can't just have a ½ inch extra of one of them because you have to sew them together and then sew them flat across. I got those two pieces connected, and so I'm going to stitch this little gap down. Like I said, I'm going to sew as close to the edge as I can because I don't have a lot of space till I hit that zipper again. And then we're almost done with the top. Once again, I have ironed and I've gotten it all smoothed down, and I actually decided that it might be kind of interesting to have just this amount of the pink lining show through. Like, I feel like that's kind of interesting. So I am going to stitch it down like this, and we're gonna see what it looks like. Hopefully I like it, or else I'm going to tear it all back up. So that's gonna stink if I do. The last thing, I got that bottom part stitched down. It's not my best stitching. That satin was really hard to keep perfectly straight, and there's just something about having like a perfectly straight seam that like, oh, chef's kiss. And just like the tiniest little squiggle just like throws the whole thing off, which is really a bummer. So if you don't look too close at my stitching, it's not terrible. But the last thing you have to do, because if you flip it right side, it all falls out still, is I'm just gonna go right over top of those seams on the inside with just like a stay stitch to keep that lining held up inside. I'm sitting here thinking, like, I don't really know about this hot pink edge. Like, I feel like this fabric is so like garden party that this like hot pink edge, I feel like it takes away from it, and I didn't know how I felt. I was kind of just like sitting here staring into space, and I look down on my desk and I see something that I have been saving. Sorry, I'm ripping at this seam that I just messed up. And I don't know if you like sew or whatever craft you do, if you knit, because I do this with yarn, if you sew, if you scrapbook, whatever you do you save stuff? Do you have something that you're like, I bought this craft product because I thought it was amazing, and now I feel like I can never use it because I'm saving it for nothing specific. I just am. I don't know if anybody else does this, but I look up and I see something that I was like, that's perfect. That's literally perfect. But it's something I've been saving. I got this at a thrift store and I was like, this would be perfect. Because I was thinking, okay, don't like this pink, but I want to keep the lining because I've got it like installed now. What could I like maybe like cool it off with a little bit? Look at this trim. Are you kidding me? This would be so freaking cute. Do I use it? Should I just go for it? Probably, because like, what am I saving it for? Nothing. And it would be so cute on here. Like, what a cute little pop. And that color is perfect. I think I'm gonna do it. I've been trying to stop saving stuff because I'm always like, you know, oh, life is so short. Like, live your life to the fullest. But then I save a piece of trim. For what? I have nothing in mind for this. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna use it. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad I used that. Like, perfect project. I feel like this top was a little like, okay. And I was like having one of those moments where I could tell that I was like, this like stripe of pink is okay, but if I leave it like this, I feel like I'm just not gonna wear it because it's not my favorite. I don't know if you ever get like a feeling like that, but look at how this turned out. Like, are you kidding me with this right now? Oh my gosh, that is so cute. Like, I did not even expect. It's probably hard to tell because I'm wearing the exact same color shorts right now. If you can't tell, I really like that shade, but like, are you kidding me? Also, something I forgot to mention. Look at those little cutouts. I love it. I love it. Okay, so for the bottom half of this dress, I am not gonna do anything with it today. I know that that's probably very dissatisfying, but I was really just gonna make it like a basic skirt and add a waistband on it, but I just don't feel like I have any fabric that's really matching it well. And I feel like that was kind of the issue I ran into with this, is that pink was just too vibrant for this. And I don't really want to have the same issue again. So I think I'm just gonna kind of put it off to the side like the top of that other dress and kind of just wait until the next time that I do upcycles and I'll come back to it. Okay, that one was rather challenging, so we're doing an easy one. This one, you don't need a sewing machine. You barely need any sort of sewing expertise. And it's this top right here. And I know this top looks pretty complicated. Don't worry, it's gonna be so easy. Now, I thrifted this 6 months ago or so, and I've been dying to wear it. I just have not gotten around to fixing up what I want to fix up about it. Now, I am a bargain hunter. I won't pay more than like $5 for something unless I'm obsessed with it. I paid $12 for this top. Look at it. Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me with this? That's so freaking cute. Look at this pattern close up. I just have lost it. I love it. But you might be able to see the flaw here. It's missing a little button. I'm in the thrift store thinking, is it worth $12 for a shirt that's missing a button that I may not even be able to find a replacement for? And I decided, you know what? These like bright gold buttons are a little much. I bet that I have this exact same size in black that I could replace them all with, or really similar size in black that I could sub them all out for. So that is what we're gonna be doing. This is such an easy fix, and one of my favorite things to recommend to really like elevate a top, or even like if you have a skirt with buttons down it, because if you pop on some like beautiful, unique buttons on a really plain skirt, or if you have something kind of like this shirt where the buttons I think add too much to it, where you have like a really over the top shirt, you don't need bright gold buttons. This is such an easy change. You can go to Walmart and get a pack of buttons for like $3, $4. So cheap, so easy. And here she is with all the brand new black buttons. I'm gonna be honest and tell you that none of these are the same buttons, but you probably can't even tell. It looks great. This next one is so easy, I could probably do it in like 5 minutes. This is editing, Hannah. I can't even believe I just said that. Just watch, you'll see. So I got this skirt a while ago. It's really cute, like flowy, kind of like almost like a prairie style skirt. I love it. It is my size, but the elastic is completely shot in it. Like that right there is all the stretch that it has left. So I'm gonna be replacing the elastic in it. Now, like I said, this one is so easy. I'm barely even gonna use my sewing machine, so this is a really easy one to do. I'm gonna find the seam in the skirt, which it's like nearly invisible, but there is a seam that runs through to the inside. And I'm gonna take my little scissors and I'm gonna cut right at that seam because I can tell just by feeling in like the thickness that that is where the elastic is folded over as well. And once you get inside and you can see the elastic, what I'm gonna do is get underneath the elastic with my little scissors and cut it. What you'll do then is make sure you hold on to it, don't let go of it, and I'm gonna go grab my new piece of elastic, which I have pre-measured out to fit around my waist where I want this to sit. Okay, like a lot of things, this didn't go as planned. So what I wanted to do, and what I usually do when all you have to do is replace the elastic, is you just cut across and then you find your new piece of elastic, you stitch it actually just like a really like basting stitch, really loose stitch onto here. You can even just put a safety pin through it if you want, make it easier. And then you cut off the other end and you pull it all the way through and boom, your new elastic's already threaded, and then just zigzag over the opening that you cut. So easy. Now what I didn't know till I opened this up is that they actually sewed the elastic into this seam right here, which like probably explains why it's not very stretchy, because a stitched seam is never really going to be that stretchy. So I'm gonna have to cut open this entire seam and cut out this old elastic and then re-close the seam and stitch in my own elastic. So this is gonna be longer than I thought it would be, but if for most things they don't do this, this is weird. There's probably a reason why they don't do this, because it doesn't aid in stretchiness. So that's a bummer, but I am gonna still take care of this. After chopping all that out, actually the elastic has got quite a bit of stretch to it. It's just the terrible way that they sewed it into it made it almost useless. Unfortunately, that was not the only issue I had with the skirt. It broke my sewing machine. Here's my husband working on it behind me for hours that night and to the next day, because I could not figure it out for days until I finally got it fixed and got to sewing again. Oh my gosh, what a nightmare. I'm still working on this skirt. If only I knew how long. But I did eventually get it done, and here it is, and the waist is super stretchy and comfortable, and it's perfect. Oh my gosh, let's move on. So if you felt like up to this point, man, I'm not much of a sewer, what can I really do in this video? This upcycle is for you because it contains no sewing. I'm gonna be dyeing some fabric. I'm gonna be changing a pair of pants that I have. Now, these I actually did buy new. They're not thrifted, but they are from my wardrobe that need a new life. So I bought these pants. They were like a super soft cream color, beautiful. I wore them for probably like a year. I spilled coffee on them. And then in the pursuit of getting the coffee stain out, I'm washing them. Apparently there was something blue in the washer, and so I got them out. The coffee did not come out, and it had blue stains on it. So even less wearable. So against the manufacturer's recommendations, I bleached them because I was like, I'm not gonna wear them anyways, what's the point? And I really don't know how well you can tell. You probably can't even. They probably look fantastic on camera. They're really yellow, which if you've ever bleached anything white, you know that they get like a yellow tinge to it. And I can't wear them like this. I don't know. You really cannot tell. They look like the color I bought them on camera, but They're really yellowed. So I'm gonna be dyeing them because these pants fit so well. Like, I never find pants that fit really well, and these were perfect. So I've got some hot water on right now. Now, usually when I dye stuff, I actually like to put it on the stove and heat it on the stove because the dye will adhere really, really well. But I want these to be really subtle. I'm thinking, I don't know, I was really thinking about the color for this. I was leaning towards pink, but I've been really into green lately. Like, I feel like green just goes with everything in my wardrobe, and I have a ton of pink tops. So I was like, green would be perfect. It would match so many things that I have. So I'm gonna be going for like a super soft green, almost like maybe like a honeydew color, like super chill. Now, this is a really economical way to upcycle something. I've got RIT dye, which is really cheap if you've ever looked at it, like $2, maybe $3, depending on where you buy these. Super cheap. Super cheap. Now, because I want like a super soft, like almost pastel green, I'm gonna be doing a little bit of green, a little bit of yellow, hoping I meet like that perfect happy medium. And I'm gonna be just totally winging it. I don't know. The pants are 100% cotton, so it should adhere really well. I'm gonna be going really light with this because once you put dye in fabric, if it's too much, it's really hard to get back out. If you bleach it, the dye will never adhere very well again because you've lessened the integrity of the fabric, which actually I'm a little concerned about these pants with. But if you have not enough dye, you can always add more. And then I'm also gonna get my pants wet ahead of time here so that they're already saturated. Having the item of clothing already wet actually helps the dye adhere really evenly, which is why I do that. And then I'm gonna set my pants off to the side and put in a very little bit of dye. A good way to test the color out is actually dump your water in, take a piece of paper towel and dip it in. And when you pull it out, it's gonna give you a pretty accurate representation of what the color will look like on your garment. That's pretty strong green. Let's try it again. Ooh, that's looking better. I'm wondering if I shouldn't add some more yellow because it feels really strong green right now. I think I'm going to. Okay, I'm liking this more. It's only been in the dye bath like 5 minutes. I'm not gonna let it sit in here super long. It's actually recommended you do like 30 to 60 minutes, but I feel like it's a little bit stronger green than I wanted, so I'm okay if it doesn't retain that much dye. So it then recommends you rinse it out really well. I'm gonna finish rinsing mine by just throwing it in the washing machine, and then we'll see what it looks like. So here's the reveal. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how I feel about these. Are they too green? Do I look like a shamrock shake? I don't know. I thought about trying to take some more of the dye out. Let me know what you think. They're a little bit more green than I wanted them to be, but they're not yellow anymore. The last thing that I want to make for this video is one of my more challenging upcycles. So I know that if you upcycle stuff, usually you're going to look for things that are your size or maybe even a little bit larger because they tend to be a little bit easier to size down or cut out of and remake into things when you have that much fabric. But it can be really challenging when you're a bigger size to find clothing that even fit at a thrift store. So I wanted to add something in the video that takes something that's actually too small to make it the right size or to make it something new, because I don't think that we talk about that enough, that it's really challenging sometimes to find things that fit you, depending on what store and things you're shopping in. So for my last upcycle, I'm taking a dress that is too small and making it fit. So I found this dress probably a year ago and I had to have it. Like, it's so cute. It's got this really full skirt, super cute. Had to have it. It's too small though. It does not fit me. And I've just kind of been hanging on to it because I didn't really know what to do with it. And I was determined to not buy anything new for this video. I thought about adding some black fabric panels, but I don't have any black fabric. Instead, I do have this pink fabric, which I feel like looks pretty good. It's like that pinky tone. And I'm going to be adding panels to it. Now, I do think panels are kind of tricky because they can look kind of not very polished if not done well. So I bought this dress with intentions. You can see the dress is actually already in panels. So I'm going to be kind of trying to integrate my panels into this design to make it kind of look like it was meant to be that way. So the first thing I did was the painstaking process of using a ripper to pick the seams down the entire front and the entire back. After I was done with that, I pinned it up on my dress form, which is pretty close to my measurements, and measured out and cut out a triangular shaped piece to go the whole length of the dress and sewed it in there. I've made progress. It's a little messy right now, but that's fine. It's coming together. So I didn't try it on before I started because I was like, you know what? Shocker, it's not fun to try something on that doesn't fit. So I just was like, I'm not gonna do that. I know it doesn't fit, so I'm gonna add a panel in the front, see where we're at. So I added this, and then I tried it on, and it was just still a little too snug. So I added the exact same panel, same measurements and everything to the back, but I didn't want it to look like I just stuck panels in there. So I added these pleats right around the waist to kind of taper it in to make it look like it's really kind of polished. And then that box pleat kind of expands out in the skirt and I think looks so cute. I also had to just chop the straps because it made it impossible to even try on. Like, you know, I've tried on dresses that don't fit before, but like I've never had issues with the straps being too short. Like that just seems really odd. Cause like, doesn't seem like that should matter what size you are. Like the straps would be the same length. I don't know. So I'm gonna have to try and figure out what I'm doing with these. They originally crisscrossed in the back. So the back ones are like angled weird. So I don't know. I've got a couple ideas. So I'm just gonna kind of keep going forward and see what I think is gonna look best in the end. I'm getting this dress done today. I've been kind of putting it off. So I've made progress, which I'm happy with. I've got the straps re-sewn, reattached, look fantastic. I got the interfacing all done. It looks okay. I kind of struggled with this panel that I put in here. I had a hard time getting it to lay like smoothly because it's a silky fabric that's fitted, and so a lot of times if you don't have it laying perfectly, it has like a little stretch to it. So I added those two little pieces of sort of like cording style trim along where there was already a seam. You can kind of see because I didn't line it up perfectly right there. But there was already a seam that kind of like shaped the bodice. So I added those to kind of accentuate that because I think it's really pretty, but it was so hard to get the corners of those pieces like cute. So I think to kind of accentuate it a little bit more, I'm considering adding little ruffles underneath it. I don't know, is that too much? Should I just stop? Okay, I finished the dress and I know that I didn't provide a very good like tutorial on how I upcycled this. Honestly, a lot of it I was kind of just like going with my heart on it. Like I didn't have a very clear plan from the beginning except for like ripping open the front and the back and putting panels in it. That's all I planned on doing. And then the further that I got, the more I was like, what if I added this? What if I put this on? What if I changed this? And it kind of just kept expanding from there. So if you are upcycling something like this, just go with your heart. Do what you want. Try something new. So my absolute favorite part of this dress is the trim that I did end up adding. I sewed the ruffles on and still found that there was like a lot of mistakes showing. So that's actual like hand beading that I did all along there, and I feel like it really pops. I love it with that. And then here's an overview of the dress. I think it looks really good. I'm gonna be honest. This is one of my favorite things I've ever upcycled. It feels like the 90s dress of my dreams. Well, that is all the upcycles I'm going to be doing for this video. I hope that it's been informative. I think that upcycling is one of the best and easiest ways that we can help to both save money and also help the environment, because consuming less or trying to use what we have for a longer period of time is really helpful to the planet as a whole. It takes a lot to make a new item of clothing. So I hope this inspires you or gives you some new information or ideas about things you could do in the future. And I hope to see you back again here soon. Thanks for watching.